Thank you so much, Shane, for sharing about your ceramic works. Now we move on to Cynthia, who's an arts educator, who'll be sharing more about her soft sculptures. Over to you, Cynthia.
Thank you. Can I see by show of hands how many of you can crochet, knit, do macrame or whatever?
I can down the whole myself. That's all.
I'm sure at some point in time in your life, you have encountered some household wearables that is knitted or crocheted, a tote bag or whatever. Yeah, even socks, when you look at it, it's like knitted, a knitted stitch. So it's not new to anyone, but to actually do it, there's a little boy in Africa. Have you heard of him? Jonah Larson. He crocheted large pieces of work. So crochet and things like that are not meant for women. Men can also do. Okay, I started this when I was a kid, and then I learned to sew. I learned to do cross stitch, embroidery, everything from my mom. And then later on, tatting, knitting, macrame from books, self-taught. And then I didn't think of it as an art tool until a few years back, Joey put on Facebook asking who can knit minis. Then I volunteered and knitted some beanies for her. She needed a couple of beanies. And then later on, she contacted me for an art show to do a summer-winter series with crochet. She wanted dream picture, so I did it with crochet, and it was quite good now, that show. Yeah, we did it with the Enchanting Predators Hospital. And then we laid off for a while, and then last May, she came out with another show where we collaborated with some writers who wrote memoirs, and I responded to one writer's memoir, and I did macrame. And this time around, I thought I would use crochet. And this piece is called Drenching the Sand. I combined two encounters with the ocean. Actually, they named several oceans throughout the world, but actually it's just one body of waters, one big ocean. So I combined this at two encounters, one at Hualien, Taiwan, on the east coast, the Pacific Ocean, and then the bottom half, this half here, is my experience with the water at Bali. The beach was relatively level, and then the swash came in very gently, and it pulls out. And the child in me came out. I followed the backwash out to the sea, and then when the water came in again at a faster rate, and I ran back towards the shore. It was quite fun. I did it over and over and over again, Nobody to watch. Pretty empty beach, and it's until the sunset behind the horizon. It was quite fun. This piece, I wanted to, if you have seen the ocean, the waves, they are quite strong and quite overwhelming, quite frightening actually at Hualien when I first saw it, and I was quite scared. But I stood there for 40 minutes watching. I keep taking videos, but I said I want to capture this in artwork. And it didn't materialize until this year when Joey asked me if I would participate in this exhibition. So I did this. I wanted the waves, but I also wanted the very gentle and very calm feeling of the swash and the backwash. So I did the other half. It's quite boring, 100 stitches like that, keep going, it's very boring, And I sat there and wonder, when is this going to finish, when is it going to finish, The many rows, the total number of stitches here, anyone to make a guess? Those who know, don't say. For this piece, anyone to make a guess? 10,000. Still short. 15,526 stitches, excluding the shell. I recorded not for the purpose of boasting how many stitches, but basically it's the calculation. You need to do it. Calculate, and when you calculate the wave stitches, I need to space it out evenly. So I start with 100, and then it's all 100 stitches across. And I wanted to project the colors of the ocean, So this is that piece.
Also, it's very pre-planned.
Everything is planned.
Very pre-planned.
Everything
So
is
even
planned.
like the curves, how many
Yes,
stages?
yes.
So-
You need to calculate how many. This Joey mentioned that my records are all in quotes. Actually, it's not. SC is single crochet, DC is double crochet. People who crochet will know what it
This
is.
is your code lah.
Yeah.
It's the working pattern.
Look at the
So
sketchbook, it's chemistry to me.
plan it. Like this one curve alone is 20 stitches. So if you have any doubt about the 15,000 odd stitches, it's not. So one curve. And before I do this, below I have to do another 20 stitches. And before I do this on top to create the swash. So, and then I thought the ends is a bit boring, so I undo the thread, the yarn, and then I comb it like you comb your hair. It's quite fun, therapeutic. Like I said, I was day and night, even I don't sleep, and then I want to finish this part so that I can get on with the water, So
So the water was a backup for you, like.
it's quite fun. It's quite taxing because the calculation you can go wrong, but I will undo. This is the title of the exhibition is regeneration. So there's a lot of undoing also, redoing. Once I undo, I don't repeat the same thing. I change the idea and recalculate again. So to get the effect, and it's here you can see the light with the shadow. But when I plan it with the darker stitch to create the shadow. But of course, this spotlight helps with the shadow. So this is this piece. We move on. This is above the water. This I call it the Enchanting Predators. Basically, it's about the anemones. The anemones are not plants. They are invertebrate. They are animals actually. They will prey on fishes, smaller fishes. The smallest anemone, the average size is about 1.5 cm. The largest is 2 meters. Obviously, the one that is 2 meters is found in some very remote places where human beings don't go to, so they can grow naturally, undisturbed. And they're very colorful. If you see in pictures, they're actually magnified by those photographers. I want to bring up the beauty, the vibrant colors of underwater marine life. So I did this piece. This looks like the brain coral. It looks curly and curvy, but actually it's one straight line. You just keep adding on top of the stitches and they will naturally curve and become this way. And then I saw the stripe anemone. I straight away want to do it. See, I have this thing in me. When I see something, I want to get it done, I must do it. I don't care if I don't sleep, I will keep doing it. In the group, I asked some of you in the group about using epoxy, right? But in the end, I didn't use epoxy because I feel that epoxy will damage the yarn. So it will heat it up, maybe, I don't know. So I decided to use the netting. That's for carpet. So every piece is being stitched on. It's all with the same yarn, the color, not to disturb it. So I created the cushion right below, like the surface on the seabed, so that there's some depth, distance, great distance for you to see. Any question about this piece?
Sorry.
How do you come up with the composition?
The
And
composition,
the colors. Is
Ah,
there
okay.
like, do you like do colors sketches?
the layout, is it? Okay. When I first create all this, I never think of how to put the things together. I just want to do something colorful. Then I started to do one big piece and then do different sizes. Then I try something else. Then I thought I'd do 2 layers of these tentacles. So I just want to bring out the vibrant effect. So I just do everything. It's one big mess on the dining table. my sister get very mad because the dining table cannot be used. Everything is on the dining table for months and months. Started in 2021, and then after that, the layout is very funny. I have pictures taken on different layouts. I tried different, and this is the final layout I decided on. And also, the heavier one will be at this corner. The next to it will be something plainer. The color may look dull, but it's not really. So I did the base is orange. So orange and blue are contrasting colors. And this one, I use the brown. And for this one, turquoise to go with the overall color scheme of this. So I try different layout. So this is the final one. And to put this is really not easy. So I stitch a square using the same yarn. Stitch a square so that I work on within the perimeters of the canvas. It's quite tedious actually. To stitch it, I think we mentioned in some of you advised me to don't just stitch at one point, right? Not too far, I use 3 points so that thing is fixed properly. What I did is for each piece, in the center I will stitch it and then around it I will stitch again so that it's secure. Don't perish the epoxy. So this is underwater. And here green, from here orange and blue, contrast colors, then green and almost red like maroon color, and here green, it moves on to lighter color here, see the green color, the turquoise, and then light green and some pink and green. On the other side, I thought I would make it very bright. They actually exist now if you look at it. I'm not an exact representation of the thing, but it depicts the color. And this part, somebody asked me whether I put stuffing inside. Basically, even without the stuffing, it stays because of the nature of the stitch. When I increase it, it actually creates a dome. So it stays there. But for security, people like to poke. I just put a wee bit of stuffing inside. Most of it I don't, but for the cushion, yes, I put stuffing inside.
Just wondering, in terms of the repetition, is there a thought behind it? Is it like symbolizes something, or
A marine life.
no? In terms of you have repeated like some of them. There's a lot of repetition in your work. Is it because it's supposed to symbolize something? The act of repeating.
They grow in colonies.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I can't put one piece because they actually grow in a group.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's this question about, because the exhibition is entitled Regeneration.
Yeah.
So how do they reproduce? They're actually asexual. They can be they can have the female and male anemone, and then they reproduce. But they can be asexual in the sense that they actually can break itself into different pieces, and then each one will grow. The polyp will grow and become a mature anemone. Have I answered your question?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Let's say 66 million years ago, a meteorite hit the Earth and destroyed all the Ammonite. The Ammonite is actually invertebrate that grows inside a mollusk, a kind of mollusk that grows inside the shell, and then it grows at the shell. The shell will grow as the animal grows, right? So, but they were all destroyed 66 million years ago. So this is a tribute, homage to the mollusk. This is shell. Again, the nature of the stitch actually makes it pop up. It naturally pop up like a real shell. But to play safe, I put a little bit of stuffing just in case, and then it becomes to a turn. So that's it. These are free form. Apart from the shell, the decoration around it is free form. I created the wavy part to signify its water, the element of water under because these are quite pale, so I didn't want the colors to overwhelm the shell. So you'll notice that I use lighter colors, something to complement the colors of the shell itself. Okay, These other ones are, these two, we have the spiral of the shell rather than the 3D form.
Cynthia, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about your stitches? How do you, because there's no template, right? Others are your own template or your own.
Yeah, my own design, the
Yeah.
pattern. You learn the basic stitches: slip stitch, chain stitch, single crochet, double crochet. Now they have an extra double crochet. It's another way of doing. And then you have triple crochet, the treble crochet. You know, you can from there you actually manipulate the stitches. You can create a lot out of all these basic things. You know, like for you have a chain stitch. You know the chain, a chain, and after that you crochet over each chain, and then for each stitch you double it, and then for each stitch, the next row, each stitch you triple it, and then it keep increasing until you have this wavy thing that comes up.
So you tried, like you tried, and then you know that it's gonna, you know that you have to put this.
It was quite accidental when I tried on something, you know the red one that I showed you and Xiaoyin. Yeah, that one was the first time I did it, and I thought that's quite interesting. And then when I look at the research on underwater marine life, then I saw the brain coral, and I thought this was good. Use it to represent the brain coral. These are free form, but I maintain the centerpiece, the spiral shape, the pattern of the shell. These are 3D, these are flat. And then the rest, the free form design, is not ad hoc. I do plan to balance it. You know how much you put here and there. Again, I want to depict water element with the different stitches. Okay. Coming back to the ocean colors, at different parts in the world, the color of the water looks different. So it depends on the health of the water. South of Singapore coastline, we have some corals there, right? And if you look at it, those corals are pretty dull because of the health of the water. But they are cleaning up. So the corals there are surviving. You know, they are replenishing, which is quite good. We haven't got vibrant colors of coral there or anemone. So this piece, I call it the colors of the ocean health. You know, I hope to create awareness of what we're doing to our waters. You know, I do beach cleaning with NUS group. It's a yearly thing, and within 2 to 3 hours, we can collect 3,000 straws, thousands of bottle cap, thousands of seabird butts. So it's round. A lot of shapes are round, right? Because I'm quite obsessed with the shape, round shape. This piece did a lot of calculation because it's round, right? And then how many pieces of this? So I did a lot of calculation. This is a compass, draw, you know. You look at my sketchbook, it's terrible.
Yes, I'm looking forward to see our sketchbook.
You know, you saw some of my sketches, right? Quite messy, right? When you plan, especially when I plan the summer and winter series.
Very
messy, yeah.
fantastic, actually.
The base is actually covered. The entire canvas is covered with another piece. A lot of calculation, many rounds. Then we have to plan how many, and then the centerpiece plus this thickness here. You know, so do calculation, and also to sew it on. I actually take a piece of paper, draw the shape of this, and then I divide it, and then calculate where to stitch. So you cannot anyhow stick on it. It's going to look ugly. So I follow the plan to do the stitching. You know, to create holes. Then you can see the stitch at the canvas there. It's quite neat. I'm quite a neat person. I don't believe in doing messy work. If it's wrong, I will undo, redo. You know, find another method to do it. So epoxy, no, it's out. Anybody want to guess how many stitches there are here?
Yes.
It's smaller. You make a guess. This is smaller than that one.
9,000.
9,000. Oh, way below.
25.
25,000.
17,726.
Yeah, more than the other one, right?
More than that one.
Oh.
Because of the thickness, is it?
Yeah.
It's actually when you do the circle, right, you increase the stitches. So it's a lot. And the back also I do. The back. So each piece like this you increase. Double, then extra, then you keep increasing. You must maintain the circular shape. You cannot anyhow increase, it will look very funny. So a lot of calculation, a lot of maths. I'm not that good in maths, but I'm good in geometry, so luckily.
The inside is all filled out with
This is a canvas. This is wrapped around with the canvas. The base, the entire piece is wrapped with. The whole
I think
canvas is being wrapped up.
The bottle
And
one
then
is talking about.
this one, what? Inside,
Inside
stuffing.
got stuffing, is it?
Have to. Otherwise it will be flattened.
Like that one.
Yeah.
Press it.
No, this one is not pressed, it's natural.
Oh, you deliberately do that. Yeah, okay.
those inside there is
My
like,
cousin say it looks like you're going to eat.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Different
Your question?
those inside is like filled of layers of stitch.
Few of layers.
Of like, or is it like
Stitching
filled
or
with
I stitch the whole, it's like a purse, and then you put stuffing inside. Yeah, then I end it with another row of stitching. There's one thing about me. If you look at those tutorials in Google or YouTube, right? They always, whoever present that tutorial will always tell you to tie a knot here and there. There isn't a single knot in all my works. I don't believe it. So I start off, you don't start with the chain. I always start off with the stitch itself. So that if you start with 3 chain, and then the end, there's a stitch there, a double crochet. Then the chain and the double crochet, they don't look alike. I don't like that. So I've devised this method of trying out to do the stitch itself. And then so that it's even throughout. It's the same stitch, beginning and ending. And I don't tie any knots. I will leave enough end, and then I will weave it through the stitch behind without disturbing the pattern. If you look at that piece, the front and back is, you can hang it the other way if you want. Of course, you can't see the wave up. So I'm quite particular in that sense. My sister say I'm very fussy. So I don't tie a knot. She just tie a knot. Can already. At the end, it will come off loose. I normally leave about like 10-20 cm and then stitch it in to make it look good, but it takes a lot of time. That's it.
Thank you so much.
You're
Cynthia.
welcome.
Now we'll move